Harry, buddy, what are you planning? Asked Sirius. I'm bored, and we have a day before we have to hit the train. So I'm practicing a trick some of my buddies showed me, said Harry, bored. And what's that? Hot wiring. If anyone asks, my name is Malfoy and you're Snape, said Harry. Deal. And you better show me this trick of yours. Harry smirked. Then they picked a good-looking car that wasn't locked. Harry opened the door, grabbed his boot knife and jammed it into the keyhole. With a quick flick of the wrist, he turned the engine on while Sirius wisely buckled up. They were off and heading towards a bar that Harry was intimately familiar with. Who needs information? He called out. Monkey. What hole have you been hiding in the past week? Called out the bartender. Monkey? Said Sirius. I'm a research monkey. I get requests from senior hunters for help that can be used by moles, in exchange for favors later. Or they pay me actual cash. So who's your friend Monkey? Asked one of the older hunters. Godfather, falsely accused of killing people and currently on the run. Thought he looked familiar. You Sirius Black? Asked Jared, who happened to be one of Harry's best clients. I am. Bah. The cover-up was shoddy as hell. If Monkey vouched for you, then you're welcome here, said Jared. Harry, how exactly do you know these people? Asked Sirius. After the Wendigo incident, I decided to become a hunter when I graduated school. It took me a year to find a bar that catered hunters, and half an hour to get them to at least share their knowledge. When they found out how good I was at finding solutions to common nuisances, they claimed me as one of their own and gave me the nickname Monkey. And by common nuisances you mean unusual ghosts, the occasional magical animal, and a duck once. A duck, said Sirius deadpan. A duck. Mean little bastards, those. Anyway, how is being a hunter any worse than dealing with purebloods and paperwork all damn day? Plus the ministry can't regulate the hell out of it, and the people who take up this profession are usually good fighters who suck at poker. Sirius thought about this and admitted Harry had a point. Being an era was dead boring, and hunters didn't have to fill out boring as hell paperwork or deal with budget cuts due to bureaucracy. So how difficult would it be to become a hunter? If you're really interested, I can get you started later. I have a book that most of them have been using for a small fee. The bartender chuckled. Monkey here made the best book on how to deal with common and uncommon threats. Most men here swear by it because it's so damn useful. That reminds me. Who wants to buy portable devil traps? I finally got them to work, shouted Harry. There was a minor rush and the two left after an hour slightly richer than when they came in. Sirius operated them back to the Order when they saw a cop looking at the car they had stolen with suspicion. Inside was a note saying Draco Malfoy and Severus Snape use here, written by Harry. Sirius approved, naturally. When they reached the outside of Sirius' old house, Sirius turned to his godson, put his hands around his shoulders and said, Harry, while I am afraid for your safety, you are the best godson a man could ask for. Ah, Sirius? How many men can say their godson knows how to steal a car, pin the blame on people he hates and have an in with killers while beating them at poker? Said Sirius with a tear running down his eye. He was so proud of him. Harry wisely kept his trap shut, having seen something Sirius hadn't with his back turned to the door. I can't wait to see what you do when you finally start dating. Yeah, something you might not experience if that look she's giving you is any indication, he said dryly in return. Who? Mrs. Weasley. It was Snape's fault, said Harry, pointing at Snape without repent. Sirius looked at his godson with more pride, if that was possible. Snape just glowered at them both. Where have you two been? Shrieked Mrs. Weasley. It took them 2 hours, but eventually, Harry was able to pin the blame on someone else. Namely, Ron, who had annoyed him greatly an hour before they left. Ron was promptly grounded and Sirius ended up bragging to Remus how proud he was of Harry for keeping up his Marauder heritage. Long after Harry was gone anyway. Harry found an empty compartment and immediately made sure Malfoy couldn't bother him while he went to work. He had gotten a large number of requests that needed to be filled from the hunters and he didn't like letting them down. Let's see. Kent, Wailing Banshee. Text sent. Derek, werewolf pack that has been harassing cattle. Text sent. Jerry, a clan of magical vampires. Text sent. Go away. I don't want any visitors. Ha, got a text from some blokes in America. Winchester. They're dealing with a Grim. Text sent along with email information. Only 5 more, muttered Harry, scanning his laptop which had all the information on supernatural beasts and the like. It was powered by magic, and he had gotten it from a Japanese chap who had contacts. Best 500 galleons he had spent. People came and left after unsuccessfully trying to get in. Particularly Malfoy, who wanted to get his pre-Hogwarts coding in. He left more than mildly disappointed that Harry didn't even acknowledge his existence. It wasn't until Hermione pointedly tapped the window that he even opened the door with his wand. Harry, what are you doing? Research orders. I always get them, though this time I had them all done before we got to the school. Usually takes me a day or 2 to get through them all. What sort of research? Mostly translation and advice. You should see the cash I get for that old satellite that I had remodeled for wireless use. Harry had bought an old Japanese satellite and turned it into something that could pick up and transmit Wi-Fi signals. He sold the password to fellow hunters so they didn't have to deal with cops tracking them through their internet accounts or about paying outrageous fees because they were over the download limit. Some of the files Harry used were several megabytes thick, hence the larger than normal download. Most hunters paid for it because they knew it belonged to someone who understood them and didn't mind the fact they were occasionally late with the payment. Plus they knew that the cops couldn't actually get a court order to stick because the owner of the internet company didn't technically exist on paper. Harry, you know laptops don't work around magic, said Hermione tiredly. Hermione, this is a Japanese laptop. They figured out how to charge them with magic ever since the first one came out. You really think they would allow something as minor as magic frying technology to keep them from their games? Said Harry just as patiently, updating his hunter blog which had all sorts of forums for hunters to chat. How much did it cost, and how are you getting internet all the way in the boonies? She asked. It cost me 500 galleons, and I can get you one for your birthday if you want. As for the internet, I have a few modified satellites that I use for free, said Harry not looking up. And the cell phone? Easier to hide and text research back to my clients, said Harry. What's that on the side? Who's Monkey Magic? Oh, that's a nickname. Monkey Magic is your nickname, deadpanned Hermione. Ron wasn't talking to Harry because he had gotten him grounded for a month. It was originally Monkey. They added the magic once they learned I was a wizard to boot. Who? Just a couple of friends who ask for research they don't have time to do on the side. Speaking of which, looks like I got another request. What the hell? Why would they need something to track a demon? I don't like doing those requests. Harry sent a quick message back to this John W. and waited. He got a message nearly 5 seconds later. Need info on a yellow-eyed demon. We'll pay higher than standard fee. Harry immediately texted back, need proper contact information. Information too big to give through text. John Winchester, phone number. Harry double-checked the number, and promptly headed to the loo, hiding his laptop in his expanded bag. This is Winchester. Who is calling? You texted me for info on a yellow-eyed demon. May I ask why? You Monkey Magic? I am. I need a reason to give up something so valuable, as demon info is not cheap or easy to come by. Particularly if it's accurate. I got your number through Bobby. I am looking for a yellow-eyed demon who killed my wife and may have poisoned my son. Do you have any information, specifically where I can find him? I have no idea where any demon is, let alone that particular one. I assume you have a way to kill him already. I have the Colt made to kill demons, and 3 bullets, said John. Good enough. The demon you're looking for is Azazel, and the summoning circle is nearly impossible to come by through normal channels. The problem is that I've heard he's been known to work with his daughter and son. No info on their names, but they're a risk factor you should take into account. If you wire some cash into my account, I can look up a summoning circle for you and send it once I have it through email. You do have that, right? My youngest son does. Will that do? That will work just fine. I'm sure Mr. Singer has my account information, said Harry. He hung up the phone and went back into the compartment to check his account. 10 minutes later he got a wire transfer for $1,500. It was 10 times his usual amount. Then again, the harder to find the information, the more he usually charged. Harry immediately began digging into his books until he found the appropriate circle for Azazel's rank. He attached the note that it would summon a demon of his class, but it had no guarantee that it was the one they wanted. He sent it to Sam Winchester's email account and sent a text to John that it was now his problem. Hermione watched the whole thing in shock. Harry, why do you have demon summoning circles in your bag? Not my problem. Hunters occasionally ask for them, looking for a specific one. I just supply them and give them all the warnings. Anyway, this is a better way to make money than to cater to the Dumas Ministry all the time. Hermione was about to give a biting retort before she rethought it. All she could see Harry doing was research that was helping others and getting paid for it to boot. Very well too, if what she saw in his account was true. Is any of that cash from your trust account? She asked finally. You kidding? Why would I pad this account with magical gold when I can live off what I make in satellite fees and research requests? I've been using this thing since I was 10, said Harry, incredulous. Room for one more? She asked hopefully. Being paid to do what she normally did for free sounded like an excellent deal for her. You got a Swiss bank account already set up? He asked in return. My uncle is an accountant. All of my family's accounts are Swiss. You adverse to researching the dark underbelly of the magical communities to find solutions to some of the more difficult creatures and ready to put them in terms that Muzz can understand? How much do you get paid per request? My standard fee is $150 for an easy one, like information on things like white ladies, werewolves and ghosts. The harder their request, the higher the price. That demon circle alone netted me $2,000. Count me in. This also comes with a get into the restricted section free card, said Harry. How did you manage that? She asked in shock. Cloak and I was told how to get past the wards around the section by a curse breaker in exchange for free information when asked. It was a bigger pain to get copies of the books I use the most, said Harry flatly. While Harry was corrupting Hermione, Ron was off complaining about how Harry framed him for something he didn't do. Seamus and Dean nodded in the appropriate place but were more interested in asking Harry where he learned how to hotwire a car and if he could teach them later. Harry listened for exactly 30 seconds of Umbridge's speech and then turned to Hermione. I am going to spend all Dada this year learning how to shoot guns and other things that are technically illegal in England. You can either join me or deal with her. Where are you going to get a gun this far out in the boonies? She asked. I already have some, just never enough time to actually practice, said Harry in return. Oh. I assume you have the proper safety equipment? Hermione, we have silencing spells. Why would we need those silly headgears? Point. Let me sit through one lesson before I answer you. Harry had done this before with Lockhart, but last time he had spent all of the years researching and adding to his book. He had a feeling he wouldn't have that luxury this time around and was already making plans to use some of the abandoned towers to leave his stuff. It was either that or the chamber, and he knew from experience that he wouldn't get a signal there, no matter how good his internet was. Besides, Ron knew the location and Harry knew that the redhead was a bit of a blabbermouth.